Tony Masters, aka the Taskmaster, is a Marvel supervillain who is capable of copying your every moveset to use against you in battle, and if you know me, he is my favorite character in Marvel Contest Champions, flat out. And if you also know me, you know that I always say that Taskmaster is one of, if not the most broken character in the game, but not in the sense that you might be thinking. You might be thinking more like Hercules, like just busted overpowered. No, I mean like you pick up this character and he just falls apart. That type of broken. And I know what you're all thinking. You're probably thinking, Ham, why are you making a Taskmaster video? You could have done this when he released 8 years ago. What the fuck? I know. Let me clarify real quick with an event that I attended recently called Summoners Fest. While I wasn't busy getting my camera eaten by gingers, I was instead playing Beat the Boss, and surprisingly, I ended up getting the fastest time on day one.
You're only suck and you suck.
Fuck you, Ginger. And who would my opponent be? Puppy. And if you know us, we're, kind of two goofballs, so we had a mutual agreement to use characters we loved. He used Gwenpool, and I decided to use Taskmaster, and when I was scrolling down to use the character...
The prophecy is true.
Oh my God!
Yep, I'm on the clock, because I know Kabam's not going to release him as is, so here I am making a Taskmaster video, because I gotta prove I'm the #1 Taskmaster player. So Okay, so now that that's taken care of, here's how the format of this list is going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go over the abilities of the character, go over the playstyle, what makes him broken, and then what I would do to fix him. Then after that, it's just the conclusion. That's the video for you. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, boy. So here's how this is going to go for the abilities. I'm going to work my way down the list and talk about the sick ability last, deep dive style, and yeah. The first thing to talk about here is the ability accuracy reduction that he gets whenever either you or your opponent make a unique attack. Each unique attack your opponent makes both decreases their offensive ability accuracy by 10% and also increases your perfect block chance by the same amount. And then each unique attack you make decreases their defensive ability accuracy by 10%. So you might be asking both what is offensive and defensive AAR and also what is a unique attack? So let me explain this using Longshot, because every time he makes one, it says immune over there, so, which you could probably figure it out by now, every unique attack that you can make is a medium attack, a light attack, a heavy attack, a special 1, and a special 2. Special 3 doesn't count because every time he gets hit by a special attack, it resets, but that could work for you, theoretically. I've never really tested that. So there are a couple niches with this, one being that you have to actually make contact with the attack in order to reduce the ability accuracy reduction. Let's say you were to full dex the special 1, you're not getting that ability accuracy reduction at all. What this essentially means is that attacks like the heavy attack, you're never going to get that ability accuracy reduction for against the offensive, so basically, let's take the theoretical maximum for both of these. It is 60% if we're accounting for the defensive special 3, and then also 50% offensively. Taking these factors into consideration, the actual maximum you will see for both sides is roughly 40% for defensive and 30% offensively. And now we have to talk about the exploit weakness, which is the bread and butter of this guy's combos and playstyle. So basically how this works is on a set timer, the last action the opponent makes will trigger an exploit weakness. And when you perform that same action, you trigger an exploit weakness. And when you're duped, you get a concussion. If not, you just get a bit of burst damage. I'm only going to talk about the duped version because that's the only version that matters. His unduped variant sucks. There are a lot of difficult workarounds with this mechanic, but I'm going to get more into that with the playstyle section because that's more what it falls under. But here's just a brief rundown of how this works. You can trigger the cooldown early when using a heavy attack, which is what a lot of us do. There is another ability in the heavy attack which gives you a miss immediately after triggering an exploit weakness, or when the exploit weakness is heavy attack. It allows for stuff like this to happen. And I guess I have to talk about this now because of how important the SIG ability is to exploit weakness, but basically, when you trigger 5 of the concussions through the SIG ability, you get a passive, which completely eliminates the cooldown for exploit weaknesses for the duration of the passive, which basically means that you can just hit as many attacks as you want during that duration. Well, it really just depends on what the exploit weakness is. There's a couple caveats, like I said. I'll get more into that with playstyle, mainly involving special attack loop, but yeah, just for now, know that it is very easy to get stuck with this character if you don't know exactly what's going on the fight at all times. But to ease things up, let's talk about his most known ability, and that is the fact that every time you place a debuff on yourself, it reduces the potency of all future ones by 10%. Eventually, when you hit 10%, he just becomes fully debuff immune. He is the only character to have this, and most likely the only character that will ever have this, and if he ever receives a buff, I highly doubt that it'll remain in the current phase that it is. I see something more along the lines of, against mutants, this potency is reduced by half, making the debuff count 20 instead of 10, but yeah, it is by far the most known thing he has, because debuff immunity is just something that is super, interesting. Nobody ever does that, and it allows him to counter a lot of different things. So the way that this immunity works is that any debuff on you, when you hit that debuff immunity, will just go away. Beforehand, whenever you hit the immunity, any debuffs beforehand would just stay, so that's a little bit of a buff in itself now that that's been fixed. And next, we got to talk about his special attacks. So for both special attacks, either debuff on Taskmaster or his opponent increases his special attack by a relatively marginal amount. There's a little bit of a contradictory thing here, because obviously I just said that Taskmaster goes debuff immune. So the theoretical maximum of debuffs that you can have on Taskmaster is 9, because like I said, when you hit 10, all debuffs on yourself just go away. But for the opponent, this isn't relegated to just personal debuffs, it expands to all debuffs. So characters like Immortal Abomination, who place debuffs on themselves like poison, do increase his theoretical damage cap with the special attacks. So that is a just nice thing to learn. The special one is the most used special attack by far. It is a 5-hit attack that inflicts a bleed at the end of the attack, which increases in damage based off of how many debuffs the opponent has triggered during the fight. Well, debuffs triggered on the opponent, and it caps at 10. This is the best attack. I will get a little bit more into playstyle because there's a little bit of power-related things related to it, but in terms of the special 2, it is just by far worse. There are a couple scenarios where it would be preferred to use the special 2, but that is unlikely. The special 2 increases in damage as well. It is a 4-hit attack that inflicts an armor break at the end of the attack, based off of how many buffs the opponent has triggered during the fight. Up to 10. Now, I think it's obvious to say, but because Taskmaster doesn't really place buffs on the opponent, that armor break very rarely sees an increase in potency, so that's why a lot of us just stick to the special 1. And as for the special 3, it is more or less a hard reset. It allows you to trigger the exploit weakness no matter what the attack is. It gets increased damage, and also he inflicts the special 1 bleed and the special 2 armor break. The best of both worlds. And there you go. Because I already mentioned the SIG ability, that is the Taskmaster abilities. And now, let's get into the... So, I want you to think about playing Taskmaster like trying to eat a poorly crafted burger. For most, when they go to pick up the burger, but for a select few, not only will they be able to pick it up, they will also be able to eat it and enjoy it. That's basically me saying that it's fine if you don't understand Taskmaster. A lot of people will find this character very difficult to use, and that's okay. But I will try my absolute best to explain how this character works for the majority, because there's a lot of oddities and niches when it comes to his playstyle, which I'll get into the nitty-gritty here, but basically, the way to start with Taskmaster is to immediately heavy attack. Make sure to parry an attack, because if you just go in for a heavy attack raw and they haven't done an attack yet, you won't get an exploit weakness. This exploit weakness will either be medium or light, and essentially you just keep doing this and making sure that both you and your opponent are roughly at the 1.5 bar range. You do not want to exceed 2 bars of power with either character. This is a pretty common scenario I find myself in, roughly around 3 or 4 concussions, and I end up throwing a special 1 because I'm about to hit a special 2. The opponent throws a special 1, and because their special 1 is so long, it ends up becoming the new exploit weakness. And because I don't have another special 1, the way that the exploit weakness works and all that with the concussions, at max sig, it is roughly 11 seconds in duration, and because the exploit weakness cooldown ends at around 5 seconds, that gives you a 6-second window to get to that special 1. Not that much time in order to get there, so you end up losing your concussions and having to go through the loop entirely again. Now, when you're at 4 concussions, the ideal power stance you want to be at for both characters is roughly 1.5 bars of power. Ideally, when you're at 4th, you want the opponent to throw the special 1, and this will either put the exploit weakness at medium, light, or special 1. This is ideal for you because you're at a special 1, and what you want to do is immediately punish the special attack, but not give him a chance to use a different attack, because what you want to do is throw the exploit weakness special 1 when it will re-trigger as a special 1, not as a light or a medium. This will give you a lot more damage. So when you're at this exploit weakness loop, the concussion that you get is 65% at max sig, which means that the possible maximum for ability accuracy reduction, both offensive and defensively, is 105% defensively and 95% offensively, respectively. And this gives you a lot of room to do a bunch of things while failing all of the opponent's abilities. You also, during this phase, get increased block proficiency, which increases your stun duration, meaning you can do stuff like this. So ideally, when using this character, most people are only going to see 1 special 1 during the passive phase, but a couple times you will see 2. But after the second special 1, I want to show you something real quick. This is my biggest issue with Taskmaster, and what I like to call the down phase. So basically, after the second special 1 in this phase, you are forced to be at an exploit weakness special 1 with no power. And it is very frustrating to be having a very fun loop and then have this essentially forced downtime where you can do nothing because you can't overwrite the exploit weakness, and you have to essentially either get to another special 1 as quick as possible or just wait for it to expire so you can reset your loop entirely. And I'll talk more about this later because this really falls under why I think he's broken, and also I have a lot of ideas on how to fix this, so again, I'll talk about that later, but just let this be known that this is my by far biggest issue with Taskmaster as is. But anyway, congratulations! You've done your first ever Taskmaster loop because I know you've never played him before. So how did you say that was? Good? Janky? I'm sure a lot of you said janky, right? Yeah, I understand that. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with this character, like, let's say that the opponent throws a special 2, and you use the exploit weakness heavy attack a little bit after in order to reset it, and the opponent just sits there, doesn't really attack into you. Then your new exploit weakness is a special attack 2 or a special attack 1 when you wanted it to be a light or medium, because normally they just attack into you, but for this one specific time, they didn't. There's just so many micromanaging and AI elements when it comes to this character that I understand that he's not for everyone, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I think that this character is the most broken character they've ever made. Again, not saying that he's overpowered. I'm saying that he is literally broken. So yeah, it's time to talk about... For starters, I think it's important to explain when this character came out. In 2017, balancing is nowhere near the way it was nowadays, and this is most apparent with ability accuracy reduction. Back then, it was not the way it is now, where it's mainly just defensive only. It was offensive, defensive, and really impacted nodes, which meant for a lot of weird interactions. The most notable example is Archangel, who quite literally shuts down everything, but also, yeah, Taskmaster's ability accuracy reduction is stupid. If you've used Archangel recently, you know that he completely counters Dark Phoenix, so I don't really need to explain why Taskmaster can also do that. Let me just show you this clip real quick. Oh, yep, no root there. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah. Well, look at this special, too. Oh, what's that? The Nova Flame didn't trigger at all. Cool. Oh, what's that? The special one also didn't trigger the Unstoppable. Oh, and she's dead. Oh, Immortality has nothing on this guy. And this applies to literally anything that can be reduced by ability accuracy in this game. Kindred's Root, gone. Serpent's Death Mead. What? Never heard of that. Even nodes, like Matador. When the opponent throws a special attack, you're supposed to get a bar of power. That's the only way you get a bar of power in this game. What's that? Oh, no bar of power. Yeah, that's why I think it's broken, because clearly that wasn't intended to be. But also, let's just talk about, like, more streamlined things, like his debuff immunity. There's a reason why he's the only debuff immune character in this game, and it's because it is by far the most broken thing in this game, and I mean that literally. Debuff immunity is just such a versatile thing to have, and I get that it's 10 debuffs, but clearly it just causes a lot of weird things to happen. And then here's another thing with the concussion, which is not intended at all and broken. Think of a Tuma who places self-concussions on himself. That kind of triggers his passive. I don't think that was meant to be. Okay, but let's just talk about his playstyle now, and what better way to do that than with Pokemon. Nope.
Oh, fuck.
And honestly, I think all this just makes for a character that is fun to a few, but for most, he's just very incompatible. That's the word I thought of, sorry. So yeah, I can understand why Kabam thinks that he needs a buff, but I don't think he needs an overhaul, which was speculated to be. So here's how I would fix current form Taskmaster. First things first, do I think he needs an overhaul? Of course not. There is a lot of things that this guy has going for him, but he just has too many like incongruent timers, too many things that just break the game entirely, and a playstyle that just feels incomplete. But I do think there are solutions. So starting things off, his concussions need more duration. When things go wrong, 6-second window is just not enough at all, and I think that more timers would give him a lot more openings to do some stuff. And in terms of stuff like the debuff immunity and the ability accuracy reduction, I think that it should primarily be just defensive. I think that offensive is a little bit too strong and causes too many things. For the debuff immunity, I think it should stay the exact same it is, maybe increase its potency against science characters to where it's only 5 debuffs and nerf it against mutants to where it's like 20 or something like that. That would get rid of a couple cheese things like Havoc, so I would not be opposed to that. But I think he should keep his debuff immunity. It is basically the core of his current character, so I think removing that would completely gut his identity. And there is one more thing that I would change, and that is, of course, how exploit weaknesses work. So I think it's evident that the exploit weakness in its current form is a main reason why his playstyle just feels so weird, in my opinion, and just bad. I think there's a couple ways to work around this involving overriding exploit weaknesses, so here's a couple of theories that I thought of. After the special one with the passive up, the final hit overwrites any exploit weakness to just medium or light. It doesn't really matter. That would give you a lot more openings to get back. A lot of people say just move the synergies to base. I think that is also a bad idea, mainly because if the opponent decides to dash in during a special one, you know, you lose out on damage, so you have to hope that the opponent's passive enough for that to work. So I think that overriding the exploit weakness in any way, or even like the final light attack or just anything, that would make him a lot better and remove this weird downtime that you have after the special one loop. Another idea that I kind of had was making it so that the passive concussion, every attack became an exploit weakness. That would, in my opinion, be a bit too anticlimactic and kind of remove a little bit of this character's charm, in my opinion, but it would also remove the current issues I have with his playstyle. And yeah, I'm just gonna say it straight up. I don't think this guy needs a damage bump. Currently, his exploit weakness gives him a lot of damage with the special 1 loop, so just being able to mainstream it to where he's able to throw 2, maybe 3 special 1s in every loop very consistently, that would make him pretty good in my opinion, because 10k per hit on top of a 2k bleed per tick, that's a lot of damage, so being able to throw 2, 3 special 1s would make him pretty good in my opinion. So yeah. My current Taskmaster buff would give him a lot more windows of opportunity, remove a lot of the downtime that he has with his current playstyle, and overall just make him a little bit more mainstream to fit in a modern game setting. And that would go a long way to making him a lot more known in this game. Or, you know, you could change his visual model, have a guy named Ham play Beat the Boss with him, and then have people speculating that he's going to receive an overhaul. But I don't know. Taskmaster is one of the most interesting characters in this game because, again, 2017 was one of the most broken years in terms of game mechanics, and Taskmaster being the most complex character, he had the most game-breaking mechanics. I think that this character needs a lot of changes to make him a lot more mainstream. He, in my opinion, definitely cannot go out in the way that he is currently. So, do I think that he needs a complete overhaul? No. Do I think that you can make him work with a moderate buff? Yes, 100%. I think with the visual model that I saw at Summoners Fest, it's clear that he is on Kabam's radar for a buff. It is only a matter of time to see what they end up doing with the character. Will I make a video comparing this character's buff to his current form? Absolutely. Do I think that I will like the Taskmaster buff? If it's overhaul, I don't know. I think that you can make the character enjoyable, but he just won't feel the same as he does currently. So, I'm Ham. This has been my Taskmaster video. Screw you, Allison, I'm the #1 Taskmaster player. Okay, go.